If you eat well, take supplements, and try to do everything right, but still you feel cold, bloated, tired, and sluggish after meals, then this is the video for you. In Chinese medicine, your health is not determined by what you eat, but is determined by what your body can transform. In this video, I'm going to explain how digestion actually works and why eating clean can sometimes make us weaker, not healthier. Hi, my name is Lam. In the last 15 years, I have applied principles of traditional Chinese medicine to restore balance to my body and regain health and vitality. And if I can do it, so can you. This video is part of the Yin Yang Foundational Series, where we learn how health is built. So here's the key idea for today. Health is not determined by what you eat. It's not even determined by what you absorb. It's determined by what you can transform. And transformation happens in digestion. In Chinese medicine, digestion is the process that turns food and drink into energy, blood, and body fluids. And this is where yin and yang become usable. If this process is weak, everything downstream suffers, no matter how healthy your lifestyle is. In Chinese medicine, digestion works more like a distillation process rather than a simple breakdown. Think of it this way. The stomach receives food and drink, it warms them and churns them and breaks them down into some kind of soup, but that's not nourishment yet. The spleen, which in traditional Chinese medicine also includes the pancreas, it takes that soup and distills it. It extracts the finest essence, which is called 水谷精微, which literally means the life essence refined from food and water. That essence becomes our daily energy expenditure and blood and body fluids. And if there is enough left over, we can even store it as qing, which is our life reserve. So digestion isn't just the intake of nutrients. It is refinement. And if the distillation is weak, we can eat plenty, but still have very little to show for it. In Chinese medicine, the spleen and stomach are called the postnatal root of life. What does it mean? Remember in last episode, we talked about kidney jing, which is our life reserve. Think of the body like a cell phone. The kidneys are the battery. Kidney jing is the charge being stored in the battery. Now there is prenatal gene and postnatal gene. Prenatal gene is what we inherit from our parents. It's like the original charge from the factory. Postnatal gene is what we get from digestion. It's like charging the phone by plugging it into the charger. So the spleen and stomach is our charging port, through which we recharge our battery every day. Now if the charging port is weak, blocked, or inefficient, it doesn't matter how good your diet is. You still get very little energy out of it. And that's why Chinese medicine says, those with stomach qi will live. Those without will die. I know it sounds dramatic, but the logic is very simple. If the charging port is bad, we can't recharge our phone and the phone dies. If the spleen and stomach don't work, the body can't replenish life essence. Digestion literally sustains life. Now here's a major misunderstanding. Absorption doesn't mean nourishment. People think, if I absorb the food, I should be nourished. Well, not really. In Chinese medicine, the stomach is good at receiving. That's why it's responsible for absorption. The spleen, on the other hand, is responsible for transforming and transporting what we have absorbed. You can absorb food without ever turning it into energy or blood. And that's why someone can eat a lot of good, nourishing food and still feel tired, exhausted, foggy, groggy, and heavy. This helps explain these three very common body types. If both the stomach and the spleen are weak, then the appetite is low, the body is thin, and the person is usually sickly. And that was me when I was a child. Before the age of 13, I had very little appetite. I was thin and weak and often sick. Now, if the stomach is strong, but the spleen is weak, then there's good appetite. Food comes in easily, but it doesn't get transformed. Instead of becoming energy, it becomes dampness and phlegm, which blocks the system and makes the body feel heavy. There's usually weight gain, despite eating healthy and regular exercise, water retention, heavy limbs, muscle weakness, brain fog, and afternoon grogginess. And that was me after puberty. I became very hungry. My appetite was off the chart. I was never satisfied, no matter how much I ate. I was very careful about what I ate, but I still gained weight and I had no energy. I was the slowest and the most sluggish person in my class and one of the heaviest girls in my high school. And at one point, my imbalance became so severe with a very strong stomach and a very weak spleen that it actually developed into an eating disorder and insulin resistance. Now, when both the stomach and the spleen are strong, food is absorbed readily and distilled effectively. Energy is steady, nothing gets stuck. And that's what I'm trying to work up to. After years of tonifying my spleen, I am getting closer to it than ever. My appetite is normal now. My energy is stable. No more afternoon crashes. I have the strength to work out regularly. And my weight is balanced without dieting. And that's why I'm such a big fan of traditional Chinese medicine, because it changed my body from the inside out. You see, when Chinese medicine is done right, it doesn't just patch things up. Instead of chasing symptoms, it fixes your body from the very foundation. Here's where a lot of modern wellness advice unintentionally goes wrong. Western nutrition doesn't understand digestion as the distillation process. So most recommendations only focus on what goes in, but not whether the body has the ability to actually refine it. As a result, many people are encouraged to eat in ways that slowly weakens digestion. Raw foods, cold smoothies, salads, excessive amount of water, fragrance cleanses and detoxes, or the overuse of cooling, anti-inflammatory herbs like aloe vera juices. All of these do the same thing. They reduce digestive fire. And when the fire is low, our appetite goes down. The stomach cannot receive food that well. It hurts the absorption. And even if the stomach can still receive food, the spleen cannot distill it into usable essence without enough fire. I have experienced it myself. Before I studied Chinese medicine, I was a vegan for a year and a half. I was eating very clean, organic everything, a lot of fruit and salads, juicing. I did a lot of detoxes, a lot of cleanses. And at first, I felt really good for about 3 months. But then after 3 months, I slowly started feeling drained. By the time I hit the 1 year mark, I felt empty, malnourished, cold, and very weak. My appetite was still good because my stomach was strong and everything I ate was good and nutritious, but I just didn't feel nourished. It wasn't until I started learning Chinese medicine and took measures to tonify my spleen that I started getting nourishment again. And that's how I learned firsthand that nourishment doesn't come from purity or restriction. It comes from good digestion, which requires warmth and balance. Here's what I want you to remember. You don't become healthy by eating the right foods. You become healthy by being able to transform them into essence that the body can use. When digestion is balanced, your body becomes resilient. And that resilience lives in your spleen and stomach. If digestion is a distillation process, then the next question becomes this. What happens if that process fails? When food doesn't get transformed into blood or energy, where does it go? The answer of that question will be in the next episode, where we'll look at what Chinese medicine calls mucus and phlegm, which is a hidden cause for inflammation, chronic diseases, and infections. Therefore, it is very important to understand how to prevent mucus and phlegm from forming and how to get rid of them. So don't miss the next episode. And if you're new to this series, please visit previous episodes. If you find this video helpful, please give me a like and share it with a friend. It's very important to get this information out. Please comment if you have any questions or thoughts. And subscribe for more videos on traditional Chinese medicine. Until next time, keep your digestive fire going.